Dear viewers, and welcome to a new edition of our program Africa Today. In today's edition, we are going to talk about the development in Africa and the importance of education for the development of the African continent. But first, we'll start with this report where the UN's former envoy to Libya, Ghassan Salama, says he has higher hopes than ever for seeing an end to the decade of violence in the North African country. More details.
Organize elections and govern a country battered by conflict, economic crisis, and the coronavirus pandemic. Libya, which sits atop Africa's largest proven crude oil reserves, plunged into violence after a 2011 NATO-backed uprising toppled and killed longtime dictator Muammar al-Qaddafi. Today, it is dominated by two competing administrations and an array of militants, including many foreign fighters. Salami resigned in March, citing health reasons and stress, but was the architect of the United Nations' current Libya peace efforts and has stayed closely involved.
The African Union leaders and the UN recommended ending their joint peacekeeping mission in Darfur on Friday, acknowledging the positive impact that the political transformation in Sudan had on the region. More details.
The African Union leaders and the United Nations recommended ending their joint peacekeeping mission in Darfur, acknowledging the positive impact that the political transformation in Sudan had on the region. In a joint report submitted to the United Nations Security Council, the two bodies recommended that the mission cease as of December 31st. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres and AU Chief Moussa Faki, who authored the report, estimated that a withdrawal of the mission from Darfur will take 6 months, a time frame that will also depend on how COVID-19 and the region rainy season play out. The United Nations mission, which has been in operation since 2007, is comprised of some 8,000 peacekeepers, though included up to 16,000 at its peak. The report said that the two bodies' leaders acknowledged the positive impact of the political transformation in Sudan on the protection of civilians in Darfur. The two acknowledged that while armed clashes had subsided following the August 2019 Juba peace talks, they had escalated in 2020. Meanwhile, a leader has yet to be appointed to newly formed United Nations mission created in June to support Sudan's political transition following last year's ouster of President Omar al-Bashir.
And 20 African migrants are believed to have drowned off the coast of Libya when their boat sank as they tried to cross the Mediterranean to Europe, while more bodies washed ashore on the Libyan beaches from a shipwreck earlier this week. More details with Abir Mitwali.
20 African migrants are believed to have drowned off the coast of Libya when their boat sank as they tried to cross the Mediterranean to Europe, while more bodies washed ashore on Libya's beaches from a shipwreck earlier this week. The latest shipwreck, a wooden boat that left from Surman in western Libya, is the fourth this week and brings the total death toll to more than 100 people, and some of the survivors were from Nigeria, Gambia, Ghana, and Burkina Faso. Aid workers say the worsening treatment of sub-Saharan African migrants in Libya, as well as relatively calm seas, may have prompted the flurry of departure. Thousands of migrants leave sub-Saharan Africa every year on a journey to Europe as they seek to escape conflict and poverty. Earlier this week, Coast Guards and Spanish charity Open Arms were involved in two other rescues where several migrants drowned. A video by Open Arms showed a Guinean mother crying out of her 6-month-old baby who died in one of the wrecks. Fishermen and Coast Guard had earlier recovered 31 bodies from the first wreck, including a toddler.
Well, our dear viewers, now we are going to shed light about the importance of the development in Africa and the importance of the development of the educational sector in particular. We are very much delighted to have with us over the phone Ambassador Gamal Bayoumi, former Assistant Foreign Minister. Ambassador Bayoumi, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon. How are you?
How are you, sir? Ambassador Bayoumi, how do you see the importance of the development in the African continent and its impact on the different fields of economy, education? How do you see the importance of the development in general in the African continent?
We are moving all the African cases and files,
Yes.
especially since Egypt came back on the presidential level.
Yes.
We have very good relations with Africa all the time on the ambassadorial and ministerial level, but we were lacking the diplomacy of summit for 20 years before the revolution. So we see that our President Fattah al-Sisi went everywhere. Even he went to a country where I was non-resident ambassador because it is impossible to live there.
Yes.
But our president went there, he took with him the Arab constructor and he built an embassy. And now we have embassy in everywhere in Africa.
Yes.
So also we presented Africa to European summit because we think that Africa is not in good trade terms or in general in the economic terms. Africa is a very poor continent where although it is very poor continent, the money flow from Africa to the developed world is much more than the money coming from the developed world to Africa, because Africa is paying the invoices of its imports, the remittance of its debts, more than it can export or it can attract foreign direct investment.
Yes.
For many reasons, of course, whether it is internal reasons or international reasons. So Egypt is taking this file since we were in the position of the chairman of Africa in 2019.
Yes.
And now there is a sort of a revising situation. With Japan, we concluded a conference of TICAD with China, with the European Union. So, and all of them promised to start thinking seriously to invest in Africa in order to make Africa much able to attract foreign direct investment and to export more in order to keep the balance of the money flow. And the European Union also accept the Egyptian initiative of investing in Africa with the Egyptian experience and our experts.
Yes.
We have plenty of experts in Africa, and also we have a good position because our experts, the cost of our experts is much less than any other country.
Yes.
Also, it is an acceptable face because of Egypt is part of Africa, because of Al-Azhar, because of the Eastern Church, many reasons to have this. Also, Egypt is hosting tens of thousands of students from Africa, also some refugees, and we never complain about this.
Indeed. Yes. Ambassador Bayoumi, that would bring me to ask about the World Bank country director for Egypt, Marina Vess, not only for Egypt but for Yemen and Djibouti as well, stated that there is a lot to learn from the Egyptian experience in its implementation of the educational reform, and that Africa can learn from this experience. How do you see that, and how do you see the importance of the educational reform in Africa in light of the idea of the wider development in the continent?
It is very important, of course, and it is not the only element we lack in Africa.
Yes.
We have a lot of bureaucracy, we have a lot of corruption. Corruption means doing the work slowly. It's not bribing or money problem. Also, we are fighting what we call the organized crime, whether it is money laundering or it is the drug trafficking, illegal migration, and terrorism. Also, in Africa, we are facing a problem maybe Egyptians wouldn't realize it.
Yes.
In Egypt, if you are from Alexandria and I am from Aswan, both of us, we feel that we are Egyptians. In Africa, the problem is the problem of the tribes.
Yes.
Many tribes, and you can see this problem in Ethiopia now. We have a sort of civil war because every part of the country is dealing with his own tribe.
Yes.
And it is very common if you ask an African from where you are, he wouldn't say I am Nigerian or anywhere else. He would name his tribe. This is another problem. Also, Africa lacks a good banking system,
Yes.
and you cannot have first-class bank in order to issue a credit letter or something like that.
Yes.
Also, we are lacking a lot of sort of advanced ways of transport, whether maritime or land transport or airway traffic. All of this we need to improve it.
Yes.
Here also you mentioned education, and we are doing a lot of effort in the sense of education in two ways. One, that we are sending our professors and teachers to teach in the African countries. Also, we are hosting tens of thousands of African students in Egypt.
Indeed.
Also, I think Europe started to revive this situation, but the Africans feel lately in the last 2 decades that they are refused in Europe. That's why we have a duty in the North African countries to host those students. And I remember when I was ambassador in Cameroon, for instance, many people started to come to Egypt instead of going to Europe because they feel hospitality much more than anywhere else.
Yes.
And it's much, much cheaper if you are financing yourself.
Indeed.
Also, we are giving the chance in order to bring them at the cost of Al-Azhar or the cost of the Egyptian government.
Indeed. Ambassador Gamal Bayoumi, former Assistant Foreign Minister, thank you very much, sir, for your precious input. Always a pleasure to have you with us, sir. And our dear viewers, with that we come to the end of this edition of Africa Today. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Haisi Rabia signing off.